Matrika Shakti. Matrika literally means little mother. And why is it called little? Is because it's infinitesimally fine, infinitesimally, as it were, small. And it is spoken in relation to the sounds, primordial sounds, the vowels and the consonants. Why Sanskrit alphabet is considered to be the language of nature, the language which allows the light to pass through, is because Sanskrit alphabet still, despite the fact that it has existed for thousands of years, has in its structure this very amazing feature, this constancy, and that the vowels and the consonants of the Sanskrit alphabet are literally a reflection of these qualities, are represented by silent and dynamic aspects that are interwoven into the fabric of creation, where the open sounds, vowels, open because they never end. The first letter of Sanskrit alphabet, ah, there's no end to ah, isn't it? It vibrates infinitely. We think of it as having beginning and end simply because there's breath, and you can only say it as long as the breath will allow you. But imagine if the breath was not limitation. You can ah forever. And the letter which corresponds to the letter K in English alphabet, Ka or Ksa, it's the first letter of the consonants in Sanskrit alphabet. And between A and K, it's literally the whole dynamics of the interaction of the Matrika Shakti. It's the interaction between pure silence and dynamism. It's the interaction between the vowel and the consonant. That open vowel, that infinity, collapses into a point in time in a consonant. And that is where creation takes place. This is the domain of the Matrika Shakti. Every consonant represents Shakti. Shakti creates here, and the Sanskrit alphabet, it's a reflection of that process. Even the grammar for alphabet itself. When we speak of Matrika Shakti, we speak of this literally infinitesimally small nucleus of creation. Out of this material, out of these building blocks, the whole entire creation is made. Not just creation on a manifest plane. All the subtlest planes of existence made out of that. When it comes to bija mantras themselves are made of the combination of the vowels and consonants, isn't it? Where, for example, the mantra Krim, which corresponds to Kali, has these consonants at the beginning. K, rolling R. K stands here for the very, very kinetic principle that represents the force of Kali itself. R stands for the light. The letter R in Sanskrit stands for the light. You know, the Egyptian god Ra was the god of the sun, isn't it? It all comes from Veda. It's Vedic knowledge. So K krim, and then I, letter I there, right? English letter I, but the sound it produces is E. E is that force of creation exemplified by the will to create. It's that ikcha. It's the will, a sheer will to create. And the sound is closing by that humming of the M. That, again, consonant M, which itself is the generating principle of the mother. So the bija mantras are this combination of the matrika itself. And they are the generative sounds, which are the protagonists of all other sounds that proceed from there. Just like, if we are to give the example which we often use, in terms of what the way the loom works, whether it's a piece of fabric or the carpet, we could say that these bija mantras are this very fiber out of which the thread itself is made, the fiber of the thread. And then the threads join together, and different threads put together create a pattern, design, and so forth. Texture. In terms of this pure, if we are to give it another understanding in terms of pure sound from the perspective of vibration, then even then you will have this, what we spoke earlier, that principle of primordial sound, exemplified by the feminine aim, which is which accompanies the masculine form of Om. And all sounds originate from there. Om itself is a pranav. It's what gives birth to prana. Prana is it's spoken of very often as link or agency of consciousness, of pure awareness. But really that is a limiting understanding, because then it has that subordinate feel to it. Some traditions have more oomph when they speak about that. And those traditions that have that deeper understanding that pranav itself, it's consciousness in its dynamic form. And we will talk about it more when we go back to the theme of Spanda itself. So there's two qualities within oneness, two qualities that the absolute consciousness has as its, which are inseparable from each other. This is the qualities of the absolute, is that silence and dynamism are woven and inseparable. And the prana, the birthing, issuing forth, as it were, or emitted sound, it's nothing other than silence in its manifest form. It's silence in its dynamic form, which then progressively generates other sounds down to all the forms and phenomena. Because that very concise sentence, that all form in its essence is sound condensed as matter. A very, very helpful understanding that even the forms in the universe can simply be understood as sounds condensed in a particular way. And that could be experienced. It could be experienced when that, what otherwise belongs to the perception and limited to the organs of cognition, is being withdrawn with and by the force of that progressively modifying sound. And it, as it were, the whole universe is then being withdrawn into the primordial sound. And everything can be perceived as that sound, as that primordial vibration. So this are, in a nutshell, what the Bija mantras are. Even the fact that you can cognize smell, you can understand or contemplate on that also from the perspective of vibration, sound. Right? Though it belongs to the, there's some kind of alchemy taking place. I'm inhaling this, and there in the cortexes, respective cortexes, there's a recognition takes place. Recognition that uncodes out of unimaginably wide range of various smells and scents, a particular scent of the orange blossom. But really, that's not the end of the story. The cognition takes place not in the cortexes. It takes place at the level of the spiritual heart, where all this present in a plethora of sound, in a plethora, in a compacted mass of consciousness. Consciousness is sound.
That was my question actually, because does it translate, how does it translate into our physiology? Because then the body literally becomes a receiver, and it seems like aside from the organs of cognition, there's something else that cognizes that sound, because it feels as if it's like electricity, but it radiates, it feels like it radiates from the heart, and I'm very happy to hear that.
Yes.
No, I'm just reflecting back on my experience in meditation. That's why I asked that question.
Sure. Well, in terms of our direct experiences, of course, that it's that resonance that it creates, and how we respond to that resonance, the whole being, our physical structure, including all its finer strata, all vibrates. And that resonance is what the whole point of the mantra, or the whole point of the mantric approach, is that it transcends matter, physical appearance, transcends senses, it transcends thought, feeling, which means it transcends mind itself, it transcends the structure of individuality as ego, it transcends intellect, and it takes us to the realm of pure transcendence itself. So yes, it's all in the resonance. But experientially we can talk about that, and everyone experiences it differently. How, what. Some people receive mantra and they feel flavor in the mouth. The taste of it. Almost. Taste. Others experience it as a strong vibration that goes through the body. Others experience it inside the head. Some may experience this slightly, maybe disorienting or often not unpleasant, but very pleasant feelings, as if you are getting a bit high. Various sensations can be accompanied. with that resonance. Just tap into it and you will learn a lot from it.